Welcome everyone to the Invincible CEO YouTube channel. My name is Dede Powerniak and I am the Invincible CEO, and I'm here to help you manifest with ease. Why? Because manifestation is simple, easy, and fun, and we are bringing the fun back into manifestation. About our wonderful topic, closing the mind loop. And this is going to be a very powerful live tonight. And you can comment in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. And you can always email me if you have any questions about manifestation, or you can put them directly into the videos and I'll be more than happy to answer them there. This is all about getting you the information that you need. When we look at manifestation, manifestation is always coming through you. Everything and everyone is you pushed out. And today, as we talk about closing the mind loop, there's always going to be loops open. But I've had many clients say this to me, that sometimes they feel like their mind is like their computer screen where they have 100 active windows open up at any given time. Your mind or your computer is trying to answer and access all of them and keep them up and running. It's really going to be draining, and people get very drained with manifestation. So if this is you, if you are loving the idea of manifestation, and here's the thing for my more logical, analytical friends, you would call it goal setting. Just with manifestation, we take it a little bit deeper than just writing down goals or trying to figure out what it is that we want to do. We take at least what the difference between goal setting is with the conscious mind and how you take it a little bit deeper in the now with the subconscious. And that's how you end up cutting down time, cutting down steps, because once it's done, it's done. And that's what I'm going to address in this video tonight. More from an analytical standpoint of if you've ever set a goal or you've ever accomplished something, you're really going to resonate and relate with this. So definitely stay towards the end, because we're going to really take it apart for you step by step. And we just take it to the next level here, because it's not just about the conscious mind. And I'm going to say this, and I say this practically every video now. The conscious mind doesn't manifest. The conscious mind is not the manifestor. The conscious mind does not manifest. It's not its job. The conscious mind chooses. Say that over and over again. The conscious mind is the picker. It's the chooser. That's its job. It steps up for a few seconds and then it steps back. Once the conscious mind chooses, the subconscious populates, right? Ask, allow, and receive. So while you're in the receiving stage, right, you do your ask and then you go and you receive. The subconscious is populating, and it takes whatever it knows that you're going to be interacting with to bring it to you the fastest. But if you have so many open loops, now it's one thing if you're activating, because we want to activate. We want to open loops. But what I would suggest is before you open new loops that you want, that now that you're a conscious creator, that you know this is what you want, first let's close down some of the old ones. And we can do that in a couple different ways. But as you close them down, you're not putting out the fires. And you'll understand what I mean by that. You'll hear me say that very often here. You do not have to put out the fires of a reality that you've woken up in, realizing it wasn't your choice, right? So the first thing is, and foremost, is always to take personal responsibility. Once you wake up, okay, I'm a conscious creator now, and I understand all that was done up until this point, and I take responsibility for being asleep, not necessarily for the choices that were made because you were being led by a script. But when you become a conscious creator right here, right now, you realize that the sitting you never stands and the seeking you never finds. The seeking you always seeks. The sitting you always sits. The standing you always stands. The jumping you jumps, but the landing you lands. And what you're doing through those seconds in time and space, if you were to jump, the version of you that jumps, thank goodness, because the landing you could never land if the jumping you never jumped. And as you go through these states of being and you understand each one is important and it has its role, that once you understand what a mind loop is, what it's doing when it's open, and how you can close it. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So because that's the other thing that's important, whether we're talking about goal setting or we're talking about manifestation, mindset manifestation, you have to be clear. Nothing is certain until you are, but once you're certain, you eliminate a lot of what we would call that messy middle or not knowing what to do, because the version of you in the messy middle that's confused will always be confused. So you have to go to the clear you, not in the end, in the beginning. And how can you be clear if you have all of these loops open up, right? So that's why on this channel, I am always saying zero out, 0 point, 0 point, 0 point before you choose. So that way, when you are aware that you've made this choice and then you close the loop, then you have this really deep sense of calm and peace and serenity. So let me give you an example of an open loop. You know, when you've had that conversation and you're trying to think of that actor's name or that singer's name or the song name, and you can see them, you can hear it, but for the life of you, you cannot remember their name. And you're going, what is that name? What is that? And you're trying to describe, and all of the people in the conversation with you are going, I don't know what you're saying, because it's not that you're not clear, but you just can't get those words out. So eventually you kind of give up, you kind of surrender, and you go, oh, well, I'm not going to know this person's name. And you know it's going to eventually come to you. You know it will. It always does, right? That's an open loop where you brought something up, you talk about it, the conscious mind comes in and makes a choice. Let me talk about this. And as the conscious mind's talking, the subconscious, it doesn't speak in words. It shows you maybe an image, or you can hear the song in your head. And that's where you have to have, that's just letting you know in that moment when the loop is open, the two minds are not cohesive. They're not working together. It's not that they don't want to, but for whatever reason, you might have an assumption. I don't know that person's name. What's their name? I can't remember the name. And your subconscious mind is always just going, yes, yes, yes. That's all it can do. It can't give you something other than what you've asked for, but you got to stay in the choice that you made and allow it to finish the loop, allow it to close the loop. So you go about and you finish the conversation with whoever you're having this conversation with, and maybe a day or two passes, and you just so happen to be driving in the car and not even thinking about your friends or the conversation you had a day or two later, and the name pops into your head. Whatever it is, the loop now has been closed. The loop now has been closed because you've asked, which is the conscious mind's job, and the subconscious populates and delivers. And all the subconscious needs for you to be consciously aware that it's always delivering what you're asking for, but your subconscious mind will filter it out. If you ask for something and you command that into your reality, but while the subconscious mind is populating it, you then go, well, where is it? You've now opened another loop. And commanding it and where is it are two different loops. So most of the time, you're not in the vicinity of here's the command because you asked the question, there was doubt and wobble. And more likely your subconscious mind can populate that one quicker because that was the last part of the topic you were on versus your original command. And here's how you can practice during your day of closing the loop, where you can take everyday mundane things and teach your mind, this is how I want it done because I'm consciously doing it. So I've shared this before that when I wanted my mind to deliver my manifestations within 3 days, I had to do something and deliver my own manifestation in 3 days. And I wanted to do it where I was coming out of my normal routine and my normal character, and I wanted to do something different. So I started water fasting for 3 days. And when I water fasted for 3 days, I can say I started the loop. I decided to water fast. I decided I would do it for 3 days. So I marked my start time and I knew my finish time, right? It's your jump off and your wish fulfilled. And really the middle in between was the great undoing. If you've ever water fasted, it actually is so easy because you don't have to go get food. You don't have to prepare food. You don't have to figure out what you're eating. None of that stuff. It's the not doing, right? Because we are always saying in the manifestation community, it's always here. It's always done. There's nothing for you to do. And that's why I chose water fasting, because I thought it was a great undoing. When I showed myself that I can consciously make a choice and deliver within 72 hours, 3 days. And I said to both my minds, pay attention. I'm the leader. I'm taking responsibility. I'm leading by example. I started a loop and I closed it. So what you can do with everyday little things, and you've heard this if you've ever watched any type of videos where someone is trying to really get you focused at the beginning of your day, you may hear over and over to make your bed first thing in the morning because you're closing out a loop. When you get out of bed, you are saying to your mind, I'm done with this sleeping thing, and making your bed closes that loop. You get up to go to work, let's say you have to wear a suit. The second that you put on that suit, it closes the loop that you on the non-working you, on the non-professional you, right? So as we do these little things and we close the loop and we say to our minds, I'm going to activate it, and then I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to make sure the loop is closed, then that mind starts to mimic you back. But you are the leader. It's like follow the leader in closing the loop. Do you have any questions? So how you could do this is you could decide to make a cup of coffee, and you have to decide where the loop is closed. Because if you make a pot of coffee and you have a cup of coffee and you leave the cup on the counter, the loop's not closed because your mind could be, well, might be offering you an urge to have another cup. But it's a whole different thing if you say the loop is closed when I put the cup in the dishwasher or in the sink. Then the mind knows the loop is closed and it knows not to offer you that any more coffee. And this is the unspoken dance that both of your minds are always doing with one another. So when you begin to understand that your patterns, and that's why we go to 0 point. That's why we always zero out. And I choose ahead of time before I go into 0 point. Now there's a whole playlist on this channel about 0 point activation, because the less thinking you do, the deeper in the now you are. And when you're in the now, it's so amazing. It's beyond words that those things that would not normally be able to come in because you're thinking start to come in, because you've changed the script that you're on. So if we have these little things during the course of the day, where if you're doing laundry, you put something in the washer, you put it in the dryer, and you decide closing the loop is not only folding the laundry, but putting it in the drawers. So what I would do if I were in that situation is once I fold the laundry and I put it in the drawers, I'll say loop closed. I will literally say out loud, loop closed, because I now am activating, I'm starting it, I'm doing what needs to be done in the middle, and I'm closing the loop, and I'm acknowledging that the loop is closed. So now if you're just kind of sitting around and you become aware of the thoughts that are dancing in your echo chamber, remember we say here, you've never thought a thought in your whole life. Thoughts come in, they audition for your attention. And if you haven't commanded them, if I say apple, and that's a command, I expect an echo of apple back, not bananas because it's a fruit. The subconscious mind doesn't give you substitutions. It gives you what you ask for. But if you doubt what you ask for and you start to water it down, the conscious mind looks for substitutions. It looks for halfway. It looks for almost. We're not here as conscious creators to give ourselves almost. And again, I've said this before, that it really is annoying when I hear law of attraction and manifestation coaches saying, well, you don't always get what you ask for, but you get what you need. And I'm calling BS on that. If I go into a restaurant and I order surf and turf, and I know the restaurant has surf and turf, bring me surf and turf. Really, really simple. Don't bring me pizza. Don't bring me fettuccine Alfredo. I like them both, but that's not what I asked for. And that's the level that you can go with your mind. And the more you're able to take a step back and observe your own patterns, there's so much information in these loops, but only you get to decide whether you want it. And that's why we stop giving energy to that which is unwanted. And the easiest way to make sure that which is unwanted doesn't keep coming back is close the loop. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. People ask me all the time, what can they do to help? Please share the channel. If you have manifestation friends, we do manifestation, mindset, goal setting so differently here that my clients get their wish fulfilled within 3 months, because this is the stuff that I guide you through as you're learning how to do it for yourself. I appreciate you deeply. Like, subscribe, share, and until we see you again, happy manifesting and enjoy.